Hey everyone, what's up, friends? This is Mozart speaking. So, what do we have in the end? So far, everything is going according to plan. Everything went as expected. So, we tested that mark. We broke down below $89,000 on the futures. The low was around 88 to 8,900 on Binance, and it was about 89 on Bybit. We tested that blue line I mentioned. Yeah, I've pointed it out in a lot of videos, the average purchase price for short-term investors. So, the main core is 1 to 3 months. We tested that line, just like we did at the peak of the correction in 2024. Here we are talking about January, not the rest of it. Sideways, and we went into a new wave of growth. We just did the same thing now, and for the moment, I expect a similar scenario. Everything has been leading up to this. Plus, on the daily chart, there's a pretty solid breakout. Everything was leading up to this. And on the daily chart, there's a pretty solid breakout. From the bottom. Close. Doji. Yes. Let it be red. It doesn't matter because the next 2 candles completely covered it. This volume was absorbed. We're testing from the bottom up again. 50th moving. And today, I think, will be a key day that will determine, well, probably the next 2 weeks of further movement. Until the Fed meeting, because there won't be any particularly important indicators coming out for America next week. Today, in about 6 hours, we have the CPI coming out. So, the cost price index, or the consumer price index, which is basically inflation in a U.S. In about 6 hours. And if yesterday's PPI made everyone happy, that's the producer price index. The key one is still consumer inflation. It's coming out today. This indicator. Next, this is the 4-hour chart. So, here we are approaching again. Here, this is a V-shaped reversal, a complete absorption of the drop. A good sign, a strong sign. But, in terms of the strength of this last movement, according to the indicators, there isn't much strength yet. This is a reversal signal. But there isn't much strength yet. So it makes perfect sense to expect that, if there's something off with inflation today, I'm anticipating one of those scenarios. I'll say right off the bat that all these scenarios are ultimately looking up. So it's not up or down, although sometimes I wait for that too. In this case, everyone is looking up. So how could that be? First, we're breaking through the 200 moving average. Just like that, somehow, maybe even higher, and we're coming back to it. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and we all leave for Parakai. The first option. The second option. If we get negative news on the CPI today, with a forecast of 2.9, let's say it comes out at 3.1, 3.2, even 3.3, unlikely 3.2. Let's say we go like this, close all these holes, return to weekly S3, maybe even prick monthly S3 back. Pivot and monthly, damn, this needs to be updated low, unlikely. But we will definitely get here. Here we walk. Here we decide our fate, but most likely, it's still up. That's where the next option comes from. Where? You are. Well, just a little bit above the forecast, let's say not 2.9 but 3, or even the consensus, then it's quite likely that it could look something like this. So, it's kind of gradual, like this, for a while leading up to the inauguration, we move around like this. So, these are the main 3 options that I see right now on the 4-hour chart. Given this structure either like this, or a gentle consolidation before and on grace, and still, all 3 options are looking upward, and the likelihood of this bullish scenario developing is pretty high, but I'd say it's about 75 to 80%, roughly around 4 to 5. The probability of this growth continuing is very strong, with good absorption on the volumes and solid separation, but I'd say it's about 75 to 80%, roughly around 4 to 5. The probability of this growth continuing is really strong, with good absorption on the volumes and solid separation. They took out the liquidity from the short-term traders. There were panic sales, and there were serious liquidations. And all this sideways movement. And it seems like we can keep this growth going. At least, that's how it's always been, and for bull markets, this correction has always been sufficient accordingly. If we get here, well, for any coins, mainly for Bitcoin, these will be good entry points for re-entering. However you want, it's fine with me for now. The only entry left was $96,990. I would have taken a decent profit with a double-sized position. Well, alright, I would have already taken a decent profit, considering I would have had a double-sized position here. Yeah, screw it. So, what am I going to do with this log? I'll write it in the Telegram channel, on YouTube. I'm not giving that out. The link to my Telegram channel is in the description below this video. The same goes for Ethereum. Everything is going according to plan. So, I was giving up the zone at 3,000, like 3050. Next up is 2,800, 2,900. In the end, we even dipped down to 2,900, 200-day moving average. They broke out and went higher. So there was a good entry point, basically just as expected. Moving on. What's interesting? Bitcoin. This is the weekly time frame. It's currently consolidating within this swing. The swing has been going on for the 4th week in a row. The candle is green, everything's good, but it's still within the swing. We need to get out of it. But there's one significant plus. This diagonal level right here. This one. Let's lighten it up a bit so it's clearer. We're carefully consolidating above it. What is this diagonal level? And this is the bull level from 2021. 1, 2. Here are the two highs from 2021. And this diagonal line is formed by them. So we broke through it and are now consolidating above it. And we've been consolidating above it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 weeks. So we've been consolidating here for about 2 months and a bit. And that's also a very good indicator. So usually the main movement that I'm waiting for, and I've talked about this a lot already. So in the end, this is all going to go somewhere. Somewhere like this, like this, like this, like this. Here, we'll draw an envelope on the weekly time frame, and then we'll come back here, and this will already be a strong correction, a very strong correction of about 30%. This is roughly the kind of movement I'm expecting right now, and pay attention if Bitcoin updates this dump candle back, and this will already be a strong correction, a very strong correction of about 30%. This is roughly the kind of movement I'm expecting right now, and pay attention if Bitcoin updates this dump candle. On December 16th, December 9th, we updated these weekly candles, we even penetrated them. So in this density, altcoin, total 3, hasn't updated that dump candle a bit. So on December 16th and December 9th, we didn't update anything. We stayed above, and in altcoins, there's also quite a strong consolidation. We're heading back to $1 trillion. We're just circling around, close to that $1 trillion mark. We're going back to $1 trillion. That's it. We're just circling around, close to $1 trillion. And at the same time, we're consolidating above the upper boundary of the global descending channel. Here it is built. I've shown you this triangle many times as well. Here we are, consolidating at the same time. 2 months and a bit. And here, I'm expecting exactly the same scenario as with Bitcoin. Somewhere around here, about 1.3, maybe with a buffer of 1.4. And back here. So in this case, a drop would be around 40% to 50% across the entire total 3. That will be a very strong crash, but that will be later. Not right now. Well, at least that's what I'm thinking at the moment. There it is. So, that's all my thoughts. That's it. Everything I wanted to quickly say ahead of the publication of CPI data. But anyway, the key point is, if we end up here, it's a good buying opportunity. For example, if you're scared to buy Bitcoin at the current price, although I'm more or less in a long position at the current price, well, my entry point is $500 lower. If the CPI data comes in as expected, or even lower, then closing this gap will just be a matter of time. And that's it. Well, if we close this gap, we'll completely buy back this drop. And that's it. Well, if we close this gap, we completely buy back this drop. And basically, we can head up from here. That's all this false dip down. And basically, we can go up from here. This whole false drop down, and the height of this false dip down, I'll take it right at the peak, is looking at the mark of $115,000. 116, and considering the momentum is holding, the next round number is somewhere around 120. More or less, that's it for now. It's all looking somewhere over there. That's everything I wanted to say, for now. And then we'll see what the CPI data will be when it's released. Next, I'll record a separate video with the updated figures and the updated chart. Thanks everyone, have a great day, and I wish us all good luck. This was Mozart signing off, and goodbye everyone.